Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force, and I hope you guys are all enjoying your John Bernthal Punisher, because I got him last night, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to take one giant sigh, because the game is slowly going to shit, in my opinion, with some of the announcements. I'm a bit late to this, obviously, because... because you know it's like 11 o'clock at night by the time the store reset happens when the blog went out last night for me, and so I'm going to be talking about Overpower here. Of course, I think a lot of people know what I'm going to say who follow this channel, that there probably won't be any surprises here. But in the second half of the video, I want to talk about how this event's leaderboard is bugged. No surprise, because I called this on Sunday on the event video. I knew what was going to happen when there was going to be a master clusterfuck with the leaderboard, and everyone was going to be smashed together, and it was just going to be an absolute dog shit mess. So we're going to be talking about both of these things in today's video. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. Okay, I mean, let's just go over this blog really quickly, right? You know, and what they had to say. It's just absolutely insane. So basically, we're getting Overpower rolled out in PvE very soon, which is going to start with the showcase for the Thunderbolts, right? And so I don't need to go over Overpower. We know what's been going on with Overpower in PvP, and they're rolling it out to PvE with the first tier of the 50% damage or whatever it is, and the focus, I think. But it's baffling and makes zero sense to me why they even want to bring this out to PvE. I mean, I don't even like the fact that it's in PvP either, and it's kind of killed my interest in that game, those game modes as well. But they're not even really monetizing it in PvE. Like, it's not even a real progression system. And I think that's what pisses me off the most, is that it's not a progression system. It's like a fucking... I don't know. It's a... I'm not sure what to call it, honestly. Like, it's not progression. You're not adding... It's not additive. You're not adding power to your characters. You're just kind of like... It's like a fake handicap, I guess, that exists that you're going to get over other players, and I guess, you know, between the enemy, or the enemy is going to have on you, because that's what's really is going to happen in PvE, is that there's going to be a handicap that the enemies are going to get. They're going to crush you even in better. If you're not maxed out in the PvE sense, if you're not 105-19 or even 105-G20, right, you are going to get overpowered by the enemy in the new content that's going to be coming, and that's why it's going to be absolutely crazy. It's I wouldn't say universally disliked. I would say it's a strong majority that do not like this system for PvP, and they've doubled down, and they're going to be doing it again for PvE. Why? Anyways, so I'm just gonna start here. So we're gonna have the Thunderbolt showcase, and they're gonna be putting into Blitz. Like, what the fuck? Like, nobody plays Blitz, so why the fuck does that matter? But I guess we're gonna. I'm not even gonna acknowledge this, because the Blitz part is just it's pointless. Unless they're gonna suddenly start throwing in new blitzes, where I swear if they do that, I'll be so pissed. So tier 1 overpower bonuses, we already have that, and then higher tiers coming. That's where I'm concerned. I talked about this in a previous video, probably last week, that overpower in higher tiers. I don't understand. I can't fathom what this is gonna look like for tier 2 and 3. Like, it's gonna be like an I win button. In PvE, probably, or sorry, PvP probably is going to be an I win button. What is this going to look like in PvE? Is there going to be speed modifiers? Is there going? I don't know how they do that, actually, because of the way that they check the overpower kind of thing. But like, is it going to be? I just can't. I can't imagine. I frankly cannot picture what tier 2 and 3 is going to look like for overpower when it does come out. I can't even imagine. We'll have to see when they actually tell us a bit more about that. But it's to keep battles fair and fun. Let's just hone in on some of these words here. To keep battles fair and fun. This is not my idea of that. You know, any of the problems that they feel that they're trying to correct by using overpower is a problem of their own making. For all of the things that they included in this game, they consciously made these decisions. And if they feel that overpower is to somehow correct some of these things, that's their problem for the game being in the place that it is. But I feel that this is a hit to the players just overall. It's not improving your characters. I actually really like what Mobile Gamer said in his video. He talked about it being a nerf to your characters and things like that. And I'll be honest, like me and him are not on the same wavelength for character upgrades, things like that, because he plays a lot more in PvP, whereas I don't. So I know that he goes around upgrading characters that I would never in my wildest dream upgrade. You know, characters that are, in my opinion, like well old enough that like I would never touch them. But he was talking about how he upgrades them and things like this, and how he would have to maybe in the overpower situation, and that sounds garbage too. That doesn't sound like fun. You know, I know he was talking about She-Hulk, I think, in either his stream or his video. So like the idea of upgrading some of these shit characters just is not fun whatsoever. But anyways, it's going to start there. Looking ahead, they are not going to. They said they're not going to be changing existing stuff. So Spotlight, Chaotic Storm Rays, current Dark Dimensions, and I guess that would also apply to Xavier Saga right now as well. Will remain unchanged, but basically everything else that comes out from now is going to include this. So new raids, Spotlight 3, I guess, whenever that decides to come out, and then any new content, keep in mind that this would be things like Tower Mode, Kiln, because Tower is basically an extension of Blitz, so that would be the thing there. Kiln, any Kilns, any Dimensions, Pocket Dimensions in the future, not this one that we're running right now, we're going to get to that. But it's just going to it's going to get to the point where in order to play your characters in PvE, you will have to essentially max them out. It's all or nothing. Like, so you'll have to 105, G20, these characters, otherwise you risk getting overpowered by the enemy. And that's just how it's going to be. Now, you could argue that it's kind of already this way when it comes to raids. In the past, it was less so. Like, you could do some min-maxing, you could do some 95s. You know, back in the day, you know, you could do things a little bit less, right? You didn't have to spend all of your resources to get them upgraded, but now you absolutely will, and there will be no avoiding this. So there's not even that many. A lot of people have training mod problems, so good luck with maxing out all of your characters all the time for PvE, because you're going to have it. That's just how it's going to be. Team will continue to monitor the community's feedback. Bullshit, because they don't give a fuck. And then we've stated our goals. What is the stated goal of ensuring all your hard work is reflected in battle? This is such bullshit that I don't know what the fuck they're even talking about. Overpower for PvE game modes arrives on April the 28th, which is next Monday. I mean, I guess that's going to be for the showcase, probably. The Thunder. I think they just basically mentioned the Thunderbolt showcase is going to be on April 28th. So there you go for that one. And I just want to I'm not going to go through all of these Reddit posts, but I'm just going to go through the titles. Is this Scopely's biggest fuck you to the player base ever? 183 upvotes, including mine, from Hofstar22. Again, not going to read through the whole thing, but we know Overpower, for the vast majority of us who don't like Overpower, it's bullshit. And extending it into PvE is exactly what I said before. And I'm actually very concerned that this will, all of this in totality, the PvP, the PvE, all of this together with tier 2 and 3 when it does come out, these are going to be the nails in the coffin, because there's already lots of people that have quit, that I know that have quit, that will quit as these things get worse. And I just don't see how this is a good thing for the player base. I really, truly do not understand why Scopely, in their infinite wisdom, believe that this is a good idea for the game. The game is not in a super healthy position, and they've kind of killed all of their goodwill that ever existed over the last year. The player base has essentially declined about 100,000 players between this time last year and now. I'm not joking. You've probably seen some of my videos tracking the leaderboard and the player base, and I'll be very interested to see where the leaderboard lands for this current one, and we'll talk about that once I get through this. Some other threads blatantly ignoring the response to Overpower in hopes everyone will eventually get over it. To make this game really fun and engaging again for everyone, Ryan Jacobson, General Manager, overpowered the gravestone, and no words other than these. Wow, just wow. For the first time in my 7 years of playing this game, I am seriously questioning the developers' motivations and owners' purpose behind the health of the game. To not only ignore player sentiment, but to double down on a wildly unpopular forced mechanic in the game is baffling to me. Overpower serves little purpose other than giving those who more heavily invest in their teams a temporary leg up. So I will admit that some of these things are a temporary leg up, but it just doesn't need to happen. It doesn't need to be this way. Like, they could have just implemented an actual progression system to improve your power that is not in this way. It's just so fucked up, in my opinion. It's fucked up. It's tone deaf. I don't understand why this needs to happen. And then they're moving into PvE, of course. So yes, Scopely is beyond tone deaf. I gotta say, I'm sorry guys, but I gotta say, this seems like a short-term financial gouging to convince people to buy things. for G20, and I don't think it will. I think it'll do the opposite. I think people are going to tighten their purses. I think that I've talked to a lot of people who are really pissed off about this, but also just kind of like insulted that they're doing this. And instead of spending more, they're actually spending less. So I don't think that this is going to have the same kind of intent. I don't think they're going to make the same progress that they think that this is going to have. I think that this is going to have the opposite effect, if you ask me. But I mean, we'll see, right? Keep tracking the numbers and see how things go. One other point that I'd like to make before we get to the event stuff is this was interesting, and I think this was brought up in my Discord server, and that there was a conversation about how Scopely is looking to replace the players. And what I mean by this is that they're okay with the current players quitting. The ones at the top, those of us who are quite engaged, they're okay with us they're okay with us quitting because they're just going to replace us. They're going to replace us with new players who have no idea about any of this, who believe that Overpower is just part of the game, like who don't know the game's history, that kind of stuff. And so they're not really likely to talk back about this because they weren't around when this system came out. And that's what I think is really happening here, is that they're perfectly okay with the rest of us quitting. They don't give a shit about us, the engaged player base, really, that, the more vocal or whatever you want to call it. Top 20,000 players, top 30,000 players, those of us who care, watch the videos, keep up with stuff. I don't think they give a shit about us. I think they just want to get new players in. They want to get those new players spending, and those new players will not know any different because the game system will have already been here. The Overpower will be here, and that's what they're going to be used to. And so there's no complaints from them on that side of things. That's just what I think. Really good comment. I forgot who made it, though, in my Discord server. Now, let's talk about the event. The Monkey Business Milestone. Now, for me, I have cleared all of the raid stuff with Vigilantes. I've also cleared Fallen Dimension twice. One thing that I'm waiting to figure out, and I'm recording this a little bit early, is that whether or not Fallen Dimension is going to allow you to run 3 times in a row. Now, we'll find out, or I'll find out when it is, and I'll make an announcement on my Discord server if that's the case. The reset time is 8 hours, so this is much different than previous ones. A lot of other Pocket Dimensions have been bugged, so I would not be surprised if this one is as well. But the leaderboard, the Monkey Business leaderboard, this is a big problem. Where the hell's the event? So I'm basically as far as I can go. Now, I'm at 1365. Now, what I want to show you here is the bug. Do you guys remember this bug where if you do any scoring input, it'll drop you to the bottom of the leaderboard? Because as anything that pings, so in this case, if you do a battle in raids with Vigilantes, doesn't matter because you're not getting any points, it's still pinging the leaderboard and it's going to drop you to the bottom. This is not a huge problem right now, but it will be a problem in the last 24 hours because, if you do any raids with Vigilantes, you're going to get fucked on your leaderboard position. I'm going to show you how that works. So basically, we're at 1365. I'm at 1365. Let me try to remember that. I'm going to go into my Chaotic Storm raids. And what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to, I should just clear the node, frankly. But what I'm going to do is, I don't know if I can send the boss, but I heard simming does not work very well, but I'm going to try to sim it anyways because I just want to save some time here and show you. So 1365, this will trigger the recalculation of the leaderboard because I'm using Vigilante. So I'm hoping I clear this just so I don't have to fucking revive my characters, but we'll see what happens. And then I'll show you on the leaderboard that I should get dropped down further beyond 1365. We did clear. Thank you. Thankfully, I did manual the first node though. So 1365, right? So when I go back to the leaderboard, because it's going to trigger that, once it recalculates, it does need a few seconds. There we go. Oh, did you see that? 1542. So I'm right there pretty much at the bottom because you can see that the Cap and Crunch and Gauge 9741, they probably also did a raid around the same time, which also dropped them down. So I just dropped, what was that, 180 spots because my position just recalculated. So this is going to be a big issue in the last 24 hours. This has been a problem any time where there's a massive clusterfuck in the leaderboard because everyone has the same points. The thing is, like, some people said, like, oh, you could spend $5 and get ahead. But then anyone who spends $5 and you're all stacked up on the same $5, you're going to still have the same problem. Yes, you'll be ahead of the masses, but you'll still be having this problem with the leaderboard with those people that you're tied with. So because there is no energy input, which I said on Sunday was going to be a massive issue, I called this. This is going to be a huge issue, and I hope that I don't know what they can do about this, frankly. I mean, unless Pocket Dimension runs infinitely, and then we can just break the scoreboard ourselves by, running it like an insane amount of times, there's no other way to separate people's score. And so this is going to be a massive clusterfuck come Monday, I guess, if they don't do anything. I don't know what they can do about it, though, to separate people's scores, because they haven't inputted anything to this event that allows us to break it naturally, which would be like energy spending or core spending or something like that. So I just wanted to give this public service announcement regarding the scoring and the raids. I will put out an announcement on Monday or Sunday even to remind people that if you do any raids with your vigilante characters, it's going to fuck up your leaderboard. So probably sometime after the last free claim, make sure that you don't raid with your vigilantes characters, otherwise you're going to fuck things up. So that's it for now, everybody. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below about how you feel about Overpower and the state of the game of Marvel Strike Force. That's it for now. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.